Hi, everybody. I am so glad that you could join us today for Virtual Moon School. Today we're learning about Yule. Yule is one of the 8 Sabbats we celebrate in the Wiccan Wheel of the Year. Yule comes after Samhain and before Imbolc. Some Wiccans see Yule as the very first Sabbat we celebrate in the Wheel of the Year, and other Wiccans see Yule as the last Sabbath we celebrate before the wheel starts to turn a new cycle. No matter which way they see it, many Wiccans will focus their Yule celebration on the returning light. With each turn of the wheel of the year, the earth and the sun, they repeat a special pattern. Maybe you've noticed how ever since midsummer, each night has been getting a little bit longer, and every day has gotten just a little bit shorter. At Mabon, during the autumn equinox, both of the Earth's hemispheres, the north and the south, shared one day where the whole world had a perfect balance of light and dark. Here in Texas and other parts of the northern hemisphere, something very different happens during Yule. For us, this is when we have our very shortest day and our very longest night of the whole year. Now, this happens because during the winter solstice, in the northern hemisphere, the earth is tilted and turned as far as it can be from the sun. Now, the winter solstice doesn't always happen on the exact same day and at the exact same time each year, but it always happens within a day or two of right now. And you can actually ask an adult to help you search online and see the exact time that the winter solstice starts where you live this year. Now, after the winter solstice, this pattern is going to change again. Our nights will start growing shorter and our days will start growing longer. And this is why so many people in our faith take time to welcome the sun on our darkest day of the year. Have you ever wondered why we give each other gifts at Yule and the winter solstice? This tradition actually goes all the way back to the ancient Romans. They had a very special holiday called Saturnalia, and it was probably the most popular holiday that the ancient Romans celebrated. It was always celebrated very near the winter solstice, and it was a pagan celebration of the Roman god Saturn. The Romans would actually decorate their homes with wreaths, and they wore really bright, colorful clothing instead of the very simple white togas that they wore on most days. On the last day of the week-long festival, many of the Romans would give gifts to their friends and their loved ones. A lot of times they would give candles or small figurines as gifts, and the children would actually receive toys as gifts. Yule is a Sabbath that's been celebrated for more than 1,000 years. Many of the decorations that you see all around you at this time of year, they actually come from old Celtic and Norse pagan traditions. Mistletoe was something that was gathered by the Druid priests for the winter solstice. They believed that the green leaves stood for the goddess, and the small white or sometimes pink berries stood for the god or the oak king, and they gave it to people to hang over their doors and protect their homes. Wreaths are something that were made from evergreen branches, and they were originally given as gifts to friends at this time of year for Yule. And they made them in this circle shape as actually a symbol of the wheel of the year and how it has no end. It always turns again and again. Holly was another symbol of the god or the Holly King, and it represented the hope that comes with the growing sun. And Yule trees, well, all around most parts of the northern hemisphere, evergreen trees are the only ones that actually keep green leaves during the winter. And many ancient pagans would cut down one of these trees and bring it into their home at Yule. It was a symbol of the goddess for some, and for others, it was a symbol of the tree of life. And they usually decorated it with pine cones and fruit and symbols that were connected to the goddess and the god. Today, we're going to learn a very special Yule carol. This is more of a song, it's not a chant, but it's a really special one to do at this time of year. It's called Solstice Night. See if you can follow the words on the screen and sing along. There are so many wonderful ways that you can celebrate Yule with your family at home this year. One way you can celebrate Yule with your family is you can create a Yule altar. Yule altars are often decorated with altar cloths and candles in colors like red, green, silver, gold, and even sometimes dark blue. Usually you'll see a lot of candles on Yule altars. Some Wiccans will add holly or pine cones and even mistletoe to their Yule altars. You can even include a small Yule tree and make sure to add any of the winter solstice or Yule crafts that you've made as well. Another way you can celebrate this Sabbath with your family is by working together to share your blessings with people in need. You can donate toys, clothing, or food to local charities, or you could even sign up to provide gifts for local elders at a nursing home. One of my favorite ways to celebrate Yule is to make a Yule log with my family. This is a really neat tradition. It actually began in Norway, and they would put this huge log into their hearth, which is kind of like a fireplace. and they would let it burn all night to celebrate the return of the sun. There's so many different ways that you can create a Yule log, and they're all wonderful. In my family, we keep it pretty simple, and we take a log and we each write our hopes for the new year on it. And then we let it burn as we celebrate Yule as a family. This presentation was created for the Texas Local Council of the Covenant of the Goddess as part of our ongoing children's programming by myself, Guinevere Penn. In addition to this video, we have two free printables for you and your families to enjoy. The first is an activity book. It's actually geared for elementary children, and it's full of all kinds of great ways for them to connect with the Sabbath. And then the second is actually a book for the families and the parents of toddlers and young preschoolers. And again, filled with all kinds of great ways to connect with the Sabbath, just really more geared at those little hearts and minds. As always, I want to give a huge shout out of thanks to both Galen and Alherin for their amazing contributions and ideas, and especially their phenomenal editorial support in this project. The artwork that you see throughout both this video as well as the printables is a combination of things. Some of it I created myself in Illustrator and Google Slides, and a lot of it was actually purchased from the very talented Kate Hadfield from her Teachers Pay Teachers site. I want to make sure that you guys take a moment to check out all the amazing resources that Texas COG has to offer you and your families. Not just the kiddos, we have so much stuff for the adults as well. Currently, we are doing tons of online classes and discussion groups. There's always different stuff going on. You can, of course, check out our website, which is listed here. But we also have a huge presence on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. I hope that each and every one of you have a very safe and blessed Yule with your families. And merry meet again.